Welcome. This is your host, Heidi Watson, on Two Tier Canada, the podcast where we explore the ups and downs of private practice in a diverse network of health professionals. Today on the show, we have Lenora with us. In 2013, she became a dietitian from the University of Saskatchewan. They have a split program there, and so she interned for the Regina Qu'Appelle Health Region at the time. Her first job after she finished her degree there was at a private weight loss center in Brandon, Manitoba, but she quickly returned back to Saskatchewan and got a position at an inpatient acute center in Swift Current. After this, she came back to Weyburn here, where I got to meet her. She works now at a community outpatient center for Sun Country Health Region, which is now all the Saskatchewan Health Authority since the merger. She is living with her husband and toddler, and they are expecting a baby soon, baby on the way. Today she's here to speak to us about a Facebook page that she runs just to help with community development and weight loss, and it's just her passion and something she just loves to do. So big welcome to Lenora. So we have Lenora with us today in person, which is awesome, and I've already introduced you and done your little bio. So our first easy question that we ask everybody, as just to get the conversation started, is why did you choose your profession? What made you choose dietitian?
So I did, first of all, I guess, thank you for having me. And I chose a dietitian. I did 2 years of Bible college out of high school. And one of the classes, I took an elective class over a weekend about body image and eating disorders. And it was very psychology based and very counseling based, which was fine. But I came out of the class really thinking there has to be a way to help people with eating disorders to learn to eat better, not just work with the mental side of their eating disorder, which is a huge part of it for sure. So anyway, that's what piqued my interest in nutrition and becoming a dietitian. That I thought that would be an avenue that I would go down. And so, yeah, that's what I chased after when I went to university afterwards.
Did you go straight to university after Bible college? Or?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. And then did you specialize in anything did they have specialties in your program, or was it just one?
It's just one program. So I went to the U of S, and so you do an intern or a prerequisite year that was just arts and science classes, and then you have to apply into the College of Pharmacy and Nutrition, and then it's a competitive entry process. But then once you're in, everybody does the same classes for that 4-year degree. Okay. And then it's usually after that people decide whether they're going to specialize, and then you are pretty much on your own to kind of
like continuing competency kind of stuff?
Find your own other education opportunities and do that kind of, seek out other mentors if you want to get more that specialty aspect of it.
Did you get a mentor after you finished school, or?
I didn't, no.
No, not around here. And have you done any other specialty work? I know dietary isn't just weight management stuff. So is weight management just your one specialty, or do you have other areas that you're kind of working in as well, or?
Well, right now in my role as a community dietitian in outpatients, we pretty much see anything and everyone that comes across our desk. So anywhere from the 2-month-old to the 92-year-old or higher, and any issues in there. So you're kind of, in the future, I'd like to be able to specialize a little bit more. Currently how it sits, you kind of feel like a jack of all trades and really a master of none, just because you have to know I wouldn't say know so much, but you have to know the basics about so many different things.
Yeah.
So you have to know about the kid who has failure to thrive and isn't eating well and is maybe a picky eater, and you have to know about the adolescent who maybe isn't growing well, or maybe has an eating disorder, or the person who just got diagnosed with Crohn's or colitis or celiac disease or lactose intolerance, right? All these different issues, or the person who just wants to eat healthier, or the person who wants to lose weight, or the person who needs to gain weight. And so there are a lot of different issues, I guess, that all come together. And then of course there's always the random calls that come in too, that people describe all their symptoms and want to fix it by eating differently or eating better, and which is fine, and sometimes that's possible and sometimes that's not. But then there's a lot of research too that goes into trying to decipher what their symptoms might mean, and if there is really anything that we can do from a nutrition standpoint that could help them out, or that they can avoid that might hinder them. But
always learning, even though you're out of school, trying to like expand and like learn more. So you run a really awesome Facebook page that I think I've been following since you started it. And it's really nice to have like those positive motivational things and like the healthy recipes that come across my feed and stuff like that. Good. So what made you start that?
So it actually kind of started, I signed up as a Beachbody coach 3 years ago, and that's when it started. I have since then left Beachbody and have no affiliation with them anymore.
I can't believe it's been that long already.
Yeah, it was a while ago. So yeah, I left that, and kind of pretty much I got sick of just like posting about like workouts and random healthy that makes sense. Like, I just felt this pressure, and it wasn't something that I was super passionate about on that platform, if that makes sense. So I changed I left the Facebook group there, but I changed the title of it, and I kind of changed its direction, and I think I even did a whole post about how I was changing it to kind of suit more of what my passions were. So then it's changed more, I guess, now to hopefully be more of like a body positive, like inclusive of all body types, and more of like that healthy eating, and still fitness is a little bit of a part of it, like continuing to be active, but not so much with so much focus on weight loss and products and that kind of stuff. And so that's the part that I really wanted to get away from. So yeah, I started doing my Monday posts, or my days that I post a recipe, because I like to cook on the weekends. So it's like my only time that I get to play around in the kitchen. So I like to try new recipes, and then I post them up on Monday. And I've had some people have commented that they've tried, and some people haven't tried, and that's fine. And they're just different ideas, and
there's the bunch of us that are like on Pinterest where it's like, looks delicious. I like it. And then never make it later.
Yeah. And it is a way good when you find those ones on Pinterest that you can try them and then post them and say, did this work or not?
Not, yes. Yeah. Which is the trap with Pinterest.
So I'm hoping, like you said, it's something that is encouraging to people when they see it on their feed, and still provides a way to get that nutrition information out there that is credible and reliable, because there's so much on the internet. I mean, you Google nutrition and you could be there for the rest of your life just reading articles that come up, right? So something that's going to be credible that people can turn to and ask questions if there isn't something on the page. And I really hope that people will interact. I've had a couple of requests to do more label comparison type stuff, and I have a couple ideas.
Oh yes, people love those.
Yeah, a couple ideas of a couple products I want to show up there for different label comparisons. And then the other one, somebody expressed interest, and they're doing a low carbohydrate diet that they've just started. So some information around that and how to best maneuver that. So I'll do that.
Did you want to talk at all about that word diet, and like how you feel about that, and like what it means to you as a registered dietitian versus like what it means to the world?
Yeah.
Because I think I see that on your page quite a bit, and like seems to be a good spot.
Yeah. So I always go back as a registered dietitian, and it stems from a presentation that I did actually a while back. I don't even remember. It was shortly after I started work here, so it would be about 3 to 4 years ago when I started work here in Weyburn. And part of the presentation was around what is a diet. And that's when I actually learned what the origins of the word diet comes from the Greek, that just means a lifestyle. So when you look at it that way, it's like everybody is following a diet. Everybody has a diet because everybody has a lifestyle, whether that's a health beneficial diet or lifestyle,
or like mine with all of the cheese.
Or cheese. Yeah. You and my toddler can go together.
Exactly.
You eat all the cheese. And that, I guess, really opened my eyes too, because I had heard other dietitians talk about diet as a 4-letter word, and we don't say that, and we want to talk about lifestyle, which is true, but recognizing that the two words are the same, right, in their origins, really,
and mean very different.
Yeah, but mean different, like when you talk about it in the world, right, or when we talk about it in the public realm, and that diet is like that quick fix thing,
and the loss,
and that,
weight loss,
the weight
only.
loss, yeah, and it has to happen in 2 weeks or less, right? So yeah, there are a lot of mixed messages, and I mean, if you just look at what we call the diet industry, or like all the weight loss supplements and programs and everything that's out there, like it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, where if the world's way or the public's way of dieting worked, really we wouldn't have so many programs and so many supplements and so many options, because we would have one that worked, and that's all that we would have, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of misconception, I guess, around diet, and so I really encourage my clients to find something, not to discourage them from trying a diet, because there is a lot of good evidence, and I've had a lot of clients that have had success doing something very restrictive initially to kind of redirect themselves or kind of reprioritize and give themselves kind of that jump start towards a healthier lifestyle, but then always transitioning off of that into something that's more sustainable, that's not gonna completely derail you if you're going home to your parents' place, or when Christmas hits and everything falls apart, or right,
and you go back to those original lifestyle things,
that you were trying to get away from, right, or you get tired of the shakes that you're on, so now what are you gonna do, right? So we have to find something that is going to be sustainable and is that lifestyle, like the original word of diet actually means.
Do you do a lot of psychology training and psychology work? Because I would think that would be the biggest push towards like a lifestyle, rather than just the mechanical eat this, don't eat this.
Unfortunately, that's a huge gap in the nutrition program right now, and I don't know. I know they are revamping, at least at the U of S, University of Saskatchewan. They are revamping their program. And I don't know if psychology will be more of that, or like more counseling components as part of that new program. I hope so. But yeah, that's a huge gap, where a lot of that comes more in like afterwards, when you're doing your own specialized training and looking into taking online courses or person workshops or that kind of stuff to try to build those skills and with practice. But yeah, if there's one thing that I think that was lacking in the program for nutrition at the University of Saskatchewan, was to do more of that counseling and more of that mental health piece. I mean, we have mental health services that are around, but there's also that stigma that's still attached with that, where people, you know, they want to eat healthy and they want to improve their lifestyle. It's not necessarily that they're depressed or anxious or have what we would call a mental health issue, that they need to see somebody in the mental health realm, like of that part of healthcare. But there's still that whole mental side of preparation and that change of habits,
emotional eating,
and
kind
emotional
of stuff,
eating,
which isn't necessarily a mental illness. It's just a stress response, which that destroys a typical diet if you're trying to make a lifestyle change.
Exactly. And the mentality goes in that too. I mean, everybody emotionally eats, and we typically think of that as negative, right? You're sad and you eat emotionally, right? Yes. But you think of when we celebrate, we also eat emotionally, right? Like if you go to a birthday party or a wedding, or exactly, any celebration, we eat in response to that too, right? So emotional eating is on both sides, but still as part of that diet or that lifestyle that you develop, to be able to accept that and not take that necessarily, even if you are overhauling your lifestyle, to not take that as I failed, and I might as well just give up and eat that box of donuts that's in the cupboard and the bag of chips and drink the 2-liter of soda because, you know, it's all over. But to recognize and be like, okay, that happened. and move on.
Yeah.
Right? What
Yeah.
is my next best choice that I can make?
Right. Rather than just giving up completely, which with the stricter dieter plans is kind of the line of thinking where people get to, right? Rather than this is my life and this is just a day, just a meal, just a moment, like kind of peace. So why the Facebook page? Like, is your market for your Facebook page mostly just like here that you're trying to reach, or is it Canada-wide, Saskatchewan? Like, who are you trying to speak to with this page?
That's a good question. I don't know. I never set it up with a specific target in mind, I guess. Looking at the people, it's grown a lot actually in the last couple weeks, which is nice. But looking at the people or the demographic that's recently liked the page, kind of in some ways surprises me and kind of doesn't. I would say it's probably in that, like, for the majority, that like 40 to 60-year-old female that has recently been liking the page, which is great, and that's fine. And in some ways it's surprising because I always thought, it'd be like my age group, right? Like the 30-ish age group. But then when you look at the statistics and stuff, our age group is the one that's looking more at like the fad diet like programs more than as we get older and wiser, maybe. We realize that maybe that hasn't worked, or we've already tried that and it hasn't worked. And are looking for other avenues. As for the scope geographically, I have people from all over North America right now that are following the page. So yes, I like to click on the names when there's a new like and just see, where are you from? And the furthest one that I've seen recently was from Texas, and so that was pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty much, I only speak English, so as long as you can read English, you're welcome to follow the page.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
That's really cool. So I kind of want to dive deeper, I think, into like the why. Like why are you doing it? What's your goal? Like, where do you plan to take it in the future? Those kinds of things.
Okay.
Because this is really like it's reliable, evidence-based community development work that you do for free. Like, this is just what you do because you love it. Yeah. And so that's really, it's not even non-for-profit. It's just
there.
It's just free.
It's just there. You can just see it. Yeah. Yeah. And part of, I guess, the why, which I said to somebody else, and this just popped into my brain, was it was an outlet for me to share my geekiness. Where it was like, I would see something and be like, that is super cool. And instead of like harassing my personal Facebook followers with this like random studies on nutrition that they're like, oh boy. I was like, if you want random geeky stuff, you can look at the other public page. And I don't think it's all geeky, but some of it is. But yeah, so that was part of the why on that too. The other part of it was that since coming out of university, or I guess even before that, when I first got interested in nutrition and that area of eating disorders, there was kind of in the back of my mind the idea of doing a private practice of some sort. And so I've actually, this fall, I actually started an Instagram page as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I've recently changed my username on Facebook, actually just this afternoon, so that they're the same. They were different until this afternoon, but hopefully they'll link a little bit better now. So on Instagram, I'm just RD Lenora is what my handle is on Instagram. And so the joint purpose of the two of them was kind of just to, in a way, feel out the market a little bit and kind of, and maybe even give myself confidence or less confidence, if you want to look at it that way, in being like, in seeing if I have what it takes, or if what I share is what people want to see or are interested in. So both of those things, and then seeing what people are interested in too, right? Like, it's really positive. There's a lot of different feedback that you can get from both Instagram and Facebook as to like how many people like your posts or how many people comment, as to what people want to see, right? And when they don't comment or like it, that's not something that's high on the priority list. So you adjust your posting accordingly, right? If that's the purpose. Sometimes I still share things knowing nobody's going to care.
But that's the thing, is like, this is what you like. Yeah. And you're looking if there's a market that matches just who you are. Right. Rather than like you do love your public health job, but
Yeah.
it's very general, right? And
Yeah.
you have to be many things. Whereas when you're on their page, you're just you.
Yeah.
And what you like. And so if you're getting that feedback on there, that means that there's a market that matches how you are effortlessly.
Right.
And, and not like, oh, it's I don't even know. Like some random disorder person coming in, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
And now I have to be that. You know, like
Right.
you can just be you.
Right.
So that's really. Are you on anything else, or just the Instagram and Facebook?
Just Instagram and Facebook right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I haven't dug into anything else yet, but we'll see.
One step at a time, kind of thing.
I'm not super techie, so I have to,
Oh.
I have to work myself up to even Instagram. I was like, I don't know, but it's super easy.
Do you think you would have started a Facebook page if you didn't have that Beachbody like to launch off of? Like, did they have support in that area at all, or?
No, like not that somebody would support you directly. I guess I just launched it with the Beachbody program just because I saw lots of other Beachbody coaches doing that, right?
Right.
And kind of as a way to reach out and find potential people that might want to work with you. And so that's why I started it that way.
And Facebook wasn't very intimidating, like
no,
pretty familiar
right?
with it?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, that's a good question. I don't know if I would have continued, if I would have thought of it to do a
Like
public
just from
page. Yeah. Otherwise.
Right.
And it kind of got things started and kind of, I had a few followers as a Beachbody coach, and it's definitely grown, like probably more than doubled since that. As my own personal, just my dietitian page. So that's encouraging too. That's nice to see.
What do you call your Monday post? What is it? Mo Mondays, or?
It's just so the hashtag I use is just like 3 little M's and then a large M for Monday. So I don't know how you say that. I always like, as I'm typing it, I'm like Monday.
Have you ever hit a Monday and not wanted to do it? And been like, oh, I'm just not into this today, or...
No,
you cook every weekend?
I have had a couple Mondays where, like this last Monday, I was sick last weekend, so I didn't cook last weekend. I did have a recipe that I wanted to make on the weekend, but didn't. So I posted the one. I said it's in my queue for next up. I'm planning to make it this weekend. So I posted that one. There are some weekends where I try like 3 or 4 new recipes, and I'll only post one. So then sometimes I have some like backlogged that I can post in future. I repeat different recipes or something, or there's nothing really new.
So you've got a bit of a repertoire. And then do you store them in like the Facebook as like a draft, or do you store them on your computer?
I don't. I keep an open Safari tab in my phone.
Nice.
With the recipe in it. But I should. I know you can save them as drafts on Facebook, and I should do that. That would make a lot more sense.
No, but if it's working on Safari, then...
So until my toddler gets a hold of my phone and deletes them all. We'll see.
That would be very bad. Are you doing anything specific to get more followers, or...
Not right now. I have done, not on Facebook. On Instagram, I have done a couple like Instagram challenges, they're called. So I follow a private practice dietitian out of Toronto. And part of her private practice is teaching other dietitians to run a private practice or to get started in one. And so as part of that, she has hosted other entrepreneurs and done kind of like video interviews with them. And one of the ones that she hosted her name is Elise Dharma. And Elise makes her living off of Instagram and teaching people how to better use Instagram. So I took a couple of her like free challenges that she offered. And so I've been working, I wouldn't say super consistently, but just following a few of the tips that she gave to increase your following there, which is pretty much like using consistent hashtags and like searching your hashtags and commenting and liking other people's posts that use similar hashtags and have similar likes and interests as you do. So yeah, that's been going good. My following on Instagram isn't huge right now, but
didn't you
right.
just start that a couple weeks ago?
No, it's been a couple months. Yeah, just before Christmas, November maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hello everybody, just a quick break here in the show. I wanted to let you know about a promotion that we are doing. We are looking for 25 founding members to our eHis platform. What this means is that you would get access to our charting software, which is secure and meets all of the Canadian legislation standards for privacy. You would also get a eHis hosted website with client-directed scheduling. And so that was one of our second milestones, so we're super excited that we are there. So this promotion right now, it is for $10 a month, and so if you know what our program has been costing in the past, this is like a huge deal. So definitely get a hold of me, go to the eHis blog, sign up, get your spot right now. Once those 25 spots are gone, they are gone forever, and we will never be offering this low price again. This is like a one-time thing for founding members. And so yeah, if you just go on to e-his.ca and contact me or look for the sign up, we will get you in to your founding membership spot. Now back to the show. And then they are linked though, right? Your Facebook and Instagram, or most of your Facebook growth, has that just been from Facebook?
That's just Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And where do you think that's coming from?
I think it's just people like because it's a public page, when somebody likes it, it shows up on all of their friends' pages. Right? And so I think that's where that comes from. It has also stemmed a little bit from just like family friends that we've had growing up, like my family from back home, and just different connections that I've made too. Where my following really exploded was actually my birthday in January. I posted something about that it's my birthday and I turned 30 this year. So my husband and I went to the spa in Moose Jaw for the weekend to celebrate my 30th birthday.
Nice.
And so I posted about that on my Facebook page, just with a little picture, and I got a free Starbucks because it was my birthday. That was probably my biggest post, like for comments and likes, that I've ever had on my Facebook page, which has nothing to do with diet or nutrition. So I don't know what that says about the rest of my page. But I grew by probably about 20 followers like that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. That's really nice.
Just from all those people liking and commenting, and I think it was, you know how it shows you how many people have been reached, right? And there were well over 1,000 people reached on that post. So there's over 1,000 people saw my face with my Starbucks mug, my free Starbucks on my birthday on the way to spa.
So where on your Facebook page, like where are you getting your most engagement on your posts? Like, is it a specific type of post that you're getting feedback on, or like, because it sounds like people just love the personal stuff, and even on my Facebook page, it's the personal stuff, at least on Facebook, and it might be just the Facebook platform that's why they respond that way. But do you find other posts that get really high engagement?
The label comparison ones have,
right?
Definitely, depending on what the recipe is that I post. Some hit really good and some not so much. Typically, I find if I post like a healthier dessert kind of recipe, like a couple weeks ago, it was black bean brownies that I posted. That one was more popular than this last week's Indian chickpeas.
People want sweets. It's February.
People want dessert. A healthier dessert.
Less guilty dessert.
Yeah, exactly. So that's okay. And it's good to have a balance. Other ones, lots of like body positive ones respond better. So even if it's like, sometimes I'll just find a motivational picture or something, infographic on Pinterest or something that I like, and I'll post that. There was one I posted Valentine's Day actually, and it was a picture of like an anatomically correct heart holding a shape of like what we draw as a heart, like a Valentine, and their little caption was like something about impossible body standards or something, which I thought was cute for Valentine. And that one got a lot of response too, just because
it's by the Awkward Yeti,
funny.
right?
Yeah,
the heart and brain. Oh my goodness, I love that.
Yeah, the
strip.
heart and brain. Yeah. And so Yeah, that one got a really good response too. Just because, and I think it strikes home for so many people, right? And I'm still trying to figure out those things that like hit home and speak to a wider audience, but still
sticking
are relevant.
to your
sticking to the audience that I have, but still being able to expand out of that too, right?
And being who you are,
right?
Like not deviating and trying to bend to something else, right? Yeah. Like, so what is like your mission, would you say? Like, what is your goal for the page?
I don't know if that's really something I've thought about.
Or what about like what's your dream with the whole body image stuff? Like, what have you been chasing since you chose to go into dietary? Like, what kind of impact do you want to make?
I just want people to not feel like they have to be thin to be healthy, or that they have to like change their body shape in any manner, right, in order to be healthy. Depending on where you're at, like making healthy lifestyle and diet changes may or may not affect your body shape and size. And for a lot of people, it's a lot smaller change than they think it will be.
Really?
Right? So, I mean, people can have a huge overall change in their diet, like overhaul completely, and are really healthy, and the scale might only move 5 or 10 pounds, or you know, the clothes might only be different by 1 or 2 sizes, right? It's not like we see on TV like Biggest Loser, where all of a sudden, you know, you've lost hundreds of pounds, or you know, there's that massive change, at least not outside of like surgical options. If we're just looking at like the diet and lifestyle perspective, it's typically not a huge change, but we can see huge changes like in blood work and in health perception and your energy levels and your strength and overall health. There can be big changes where we don't typically expect to see them. Do you know what I mean? Like the typical person I see in my office is like, I want to lose weight and I want to fit into this size and I want to see this number on the scale. And
rather than I want my blood pressure down, I want like more energy in the day.
Yeah. And it's not even necessarily I want to be healthy and do those things. It's like that's the be all and end all, is just those numbers.
Size and image.
And I'd like to get away from the numbers defining us, if that makes sense. Right. So
and getting that education and awareness out there.
Right.
That it's not all about that.
Right.
Which can be, people focus on so much.
Yeah.
Have you done other community work, like outside of your role with the health region or anything like that, like, or even with the health region, like any community development kind of stuff, or
like how do you mean that way?
Like for the weight loss stuff, or what about you had mentioned before we started recording the groups for weight loss rather than individual stuff. Did you want to talk about that at all, or?
Well, right now, as far as I know anyways, unless somebody is privately doing it that I don't know of, there aren't any groups in this area that do like group weight management or group weight loss. I guess Weight Watchers would, if you would count that as something separate, but not from like the perspective that I would see coming at it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Weight Watchers is going back again to the fixating on the numbers and the weight more than anything. So to look at that healthy body image and looking for the overall health, there isn't any group support services or group programs that are offered that I know of in this area. There are in Regina, if anybody wants to be connected with those. But in Weyburn, there aren't. I did run, or I tried to, for a little bit. I tried to set up a walking group in the mall for a little while. That was a couple years ago already. That was before my son was born. And I would go once or twice a week. No, I don't even remember. From 6 till 8, and we would just walk, and it was open to anybody and everybody, all ages. The mall is very quiet. And there was more space then. They've renovated now. There's not quite as much space as there used to be. But yeah, so we would just walk laps, and I got to know a few good people would come, and I don't know that they necessarily came because my program was there. I think they were already just regulars who came to walk there. But it was cool to meet different people of the community and like hear their health stories and hear their other, you know, not super personal stories, but kind of like where they're at and where their family is from, and
those kind of connections in the community.
Yeah, it was cool to see those connections in the community, and you get out and you walk and it's air conditioned, so you're not overheating and you're not slipping on ice in the wintertime or freezing to death. And so it's a good, I think anywhere, whether there's a program set up or not, I think walking in malls is a great idea.
Yes.
I recommend that to lots of people.
I remember they
just
used to
maybe
do that
leave
back
your
in
wallet
Winnipeg.
at home if you need to.
Oh.
Be tempted to go shopping at the same time. But yeah, it's a great place. And then other than that, I've done a couple of things with like the Canadian Cancer Society has approached us to do a couple different just evening presentations when they're around. April is there, I think April, or is it May?
I don't know.
I think maybe it's May now. Is their month for cancer awareness. So they do education stuff. So we've done presentations, or I have done a couple years of presentations just around their theme for the month, and so that's usually in a community center somewhere here. And
do you like that kind of stuff, the education piece, the speaking?
I do, yeah. It's cool. Initially, when I first started, it was super intimidating. And first of all, you don't have, like for the Canadian Cancer Society, for example, they give you a topic, and sometimes they've given a presentation, like a pre-made presentation for you to kind of go off of. But they haven't both years. One year they did, and last year they didn't. And so you're kind of like, where do you go? Like, which direction do you take with it, or how deep do you go? But it's really cool to hear people's questions. Like, it's cool to present, and it's cool to research to present for those things. But I almost like the question and answer period at the end more. Just for the reason that you really get a sense of what people are hearing, right? Like, I'm not somebody that's good at listening to the news or picking up the latest magazine to find out what the diet trend is or isn't right now. And so it's interesting to hear people's questions and just to hear what's out there and what information is floating around. And you don't always know the answers to their questions.
True, because it could be something you've never heard of, like a diet that you've never heard of.
Yeah, you don't always know the answer, and that's okay, and that I don't know that that's necessarily the point. But you get to be out there, and you get to make your name and your face known, and you get to have that connection, and you get an inside scoop on what the latest trend is. Then you can go back to your office and research and
see what people
and post on Facebook about.
Yes, exactly. Where do you plan on taking your career as a dietitian and your Facebook page in the future? Like, where do you want to head? Do you have any goals or?
I'm still toying with the idea of private practice in the future. I'm not yet 100% sure what that might look like.
Yeah.
But I have a few ideas rumbling around in my head. I don't have a direction or anything that specifically will change necessarily for the Facebook group. I have had some ideas around, similar to Monday, like making it more structured, like having a specific type of post that goes up on another day of the week, that it's consistent that way, and specifically probably the label reading one. And I don't know what day I would pick on that yet, but we'll have to see. I might have to correspond with my shopping trips so that I can get pictures of labels. But yeah, that's an idea that I have for the Facebook group. And I would like, as my practice, I would really like to tailor it or direct it more to primary health in the idea of preventative health. I feel like right now, in the job I have now, there is some of that. There is some preventative health work and counseling that I do, but a lot of it is, this patient has already been diagnosed with this.
Yeah, it's already happened.
Yeah, now we need to educate on how to manage that often chronic condition, right? And I'd like to see more, and I think the public is more that way too, or becoming more that way, of that preventative and health approach, where how can we adjust our diet and our lifestyle now so that maybe we don't have to deal with some of those bigger issues later on. So that's where I would like to see my practice and my job going, I guess, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
to be able to provide that support to people to make those preliminary changes before they need to be big changes.
Major changes,
yes.
lifestyles, overhauls.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess last question for you. Would you have any advice or anything that you would give like that early, just leaving school dietitian? Like directions that you would maybe that they shouldn't go or should go, that kind of stuff.
I would say, I mean, from my internship experience, and not every dietitian has the same internship experience depending on the program and the university that they've graduated from. But we were fortunate and to have a variety of experiences throughout our year of internship. So we spent time in a lot of different areas of nutrition. So if you have that fortunate experience to be able to do that, I would say really reflect and really know which areas you liked. And which you didn't, right? Because there can be, and it happened to me too when I came out of school, that there were some jobs came up and there was a time, about 4 to 6 months where I didn't have a job. And jobs would come up and my dad would be like, oh, there it is. He's like, take that one. But it was an area that I hated, right? Like I hated the whole time I was in it during internship. Just loathed it. And I was like, I'm not like, yeah, you can get experience and I guess you have to weigh for yourself how much you're willing to put into that.
Yeah, how much to bend.
Yeah. But I would say really look for that job that is for you, right? Yes. And things are going to surprise you. Like even coming into this job that I have right now as the community dietitian, like I didn't think I would want to do group presentations or like public speak ever. And that's an area that I really like, that I've come to really like. I didn't think I would like program development. That was something that we did in some of our public health rotations. And I've been able to be part of developing a couple different programs for our region. And also really enjoyed those processes. And so I wouldn't say like completely shut everything off of when you don't have those things, but make the bulk of whatever job that you apply into be something that you're interested in and something that you have enjoyed, right?
Yeah.
And kind of aligns with you so that you have those areas that you really like in your job. And then be willing to branch out. There's lots of continuing education opportunities, like tons and all the time. And I mean, nutrition is an early science, like really young science. I mean, it's only really been studied, well, really in depth since the Second World War, right? And even before that, I mean, people didn't really pay that much attention until about the 1800s is when they really started looking into different vitamins and minerals and how that all affected us, right?
Because food was food. If you could eat it,
well,
exactly.
Then you ate it. Yeah. And so taking that into consideration, like if you compare like astronomy or geology, right? Like those are old sciences. Whereas nutrition, like we're always learning something new and there's still so many unanswered questions and the human body is still such a mystery as to how we use nutrients in food and supplements. So yeah, always be willing to learn and expand and take on different opportunities, even if they make you uncomfortable. And
that like bit of growth, right? There's just that little bit of uncomfortableness right at the edges that doesn't necessarily mean it's not right for you. Just uncomfortable
to start with, and then all of a sudden it becomes comfortable, and you're like, "What was the big deal?"
Now
which is where I'm sitting right now. A few different things. How uncomfortable do I want to be? Well,
How far do I want to stretch today?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, was there any other final thoughts or anything like that?
Not that are coming to mind.
Well, thank you very much for your time and being on the show today, and very valuable on community development and how to use Facebook and social media.
Good. Thanks, Heidi.
Thanks for coming. So big thank you to Lenora Vadaminuk for coming on to the show today. If you wanted to connect with her, She has her Instagram that she mentioned during this show, and she's got her Facebook page, which is Lenora Vadimic RD, and I will have all those details in the show notes on how to follow her pages and learn more about the community development that she's doing. So again, huge thank you to speaking to us today about being yourself and doing what really comes naturally to you and doing community development kind of work just because it's really meaningful. We hope to talk to maybe Lenora in the future and follow up on what she's been up to. And otherwise, thank you for listening to the show today. We'll see you next month.